All right, hello 8th graders. This video is to talk you through and give you some help on getting through your rational numbers review. So make sure that you are pausing this video as you need to as you're moving along. I may be moving a little bit faster than you are going to do it, but that's okay. You can pause it and come back to it once you finish each problem. So you're going to go ahead and fill in all of this first part, and then it's going to open up the review questions for you. So here's question number 1. It says, which of these diagrams shows 2/3 shaded in? So as I'm looking at all of them, I'm looking for which one has 2/3. Here I see 2 shaded in, but it's out of a lot more than 3. There's 12 total. So this one's not going to work. 2/12 is not going to work. This one's only 3 out of the 12. That's not going to work. This one has 5 out of 12. That cannot simplify down, so I know that that one's not it. This one, though, has 8 out of 12. And so my question is that the same as 2/3? Well, nothing else is working. Here's why it works. If I look for a common factor, 4 can divide into both of these. So I'm going to divide by 4 on top and bottom. I'm simplifying, right? 4 goes into 8 twice, and 4 goes into 12 3 times. So it is 2/3. So D is my choice on this first one. Here's question 2. So what is the fraction of this figure that is shaded in gray? So I'm going to go count each individual piece. There's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 pieces shaded in gray. Out of how many total? So there's 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 20 total pieces. But 12/20ths is not an option over here. That doesn't mean that I've done something wrong. It means I need to simplify. So I'm thinking about what can go into both 12 and 20. 4 will work again. 4 is a common factor that will go into both. 4 will fit into 12 3 times, and 4 will fit into 20 5 times. So 3/5 is my answer that I want. Okay. So we're looking for simplifying. If your answer doesn't show up, then the simplifying is what you need to think about. All right, question 3. What fraction of this large square is shaded in gray? So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces that are shaded in gray. Out of how many total? So that would be 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I have 4 out of 9 shaded in gray. I cannot simplify, and my option's right up here for me, so A. Question 4, what fraction of the large square is shaded in white? So I'm looking for my white squares this time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 shaded in white out of 7, 8, 9. So 6 out of 9. That is not an option over here for you, and that's because this can be simplified. So I'm looking for what number can divide into both. 3 is a common factor. 3 fits into 6 twice, and 3 fits into 9 3 times. So this one is going to be 2/3. A. Looking for simplifying. If my answer doesn't show up, it's probably because I need to simplify. Question 5. What fraction of this large square is shaded in gray? My problem is that these pieces are not the same size. So remember, to be able to compare pieces and count them, I need to have ones that all look the same. So I'm going to go start adding in lines. We did this type of a problem when we were sharing sandwiches. And I'm now, since I have pieces that are all the same size, going to count the ones that are shaded in gray. So I have 1, 2, 3 pieces that are gray out of 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 3 out of 8. Cannot be simplified. My option's right up here for me. So A again. Number 6, what fraction of the large square is shaded in white? Again, I have that problem where I don't have pieces that are all the same size. I'm going to go cut and add in some lines so that all my pieces are the same. I have triangles everywhere now. And I'm looking for the ones that are in white. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces, my white triangles, out of 6, 7, 8. So 5 out of 8. That cannot be simplified. Don't have any common factors. So we're good there, 5/8. Number 7, what is the missing number that describes this figure? So right down here, I see a fraction. It's out of 16, and I have 16 squares within this diagram. So I think what I need to figure out is how many is shaded in for the top number. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 that are shaded in out of the 16. So my missing number, the top number up here, is a 12. So C. Number 8. What is the missing number that describes this figure? This time I have 2 written on the top. I'm looking for what's going to go down here. So that was my fraction part that I was given. But I have more than 2 shaded pieces. So that means this was probably something that was simplified. So I'm going to think about what the original fraction would be and then simplify it and see what will go with the 2. So on my original fraction, if I think about shaded parts, I have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have 8 shaded out of how many total? So 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 8 out of 12. Well, this can simplify down. This has a 4 in common. 4 could be divided on both top and bottom. And if I simplify down, that 8 divided by 4 would turn into 2. But 12 divided by 4 would turn into my missing number. So 12 divided by 4 is 3. My missing number is 3. So it should be B. You can also look at it this way within your diagram. You have 2 columns out of 3 shaded in, right? 2 out of 3 pieces shaded in if you look at the entire column as opposed to just individual pieces. All right, number 9, what is the missing number that describes this set of circles? I have 8 on the top. I'm going to count and see if I have 8 total pieces that are shaded in. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep, I have 8 shaded in. So I just need to find my total number for the bottom of my fraction. So 9, 10, 11, 12. I have 12 total circles in the set. So this should have been 8 twelfths. I'm missing the 12. 8 twelfths. Number 10. What's the missing number that describes this set of circles? I have a 3 up here on the top. I'm going to figure out what the original fraction was and then see if I had to simplify because I have more than 3 circles. So my guess is that I had to simplify something. So I'm going to go count all of my circles that are shaded in. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I had 12 shaded in out of, it looks like 16 because I have a 4 by 4. So 12 out of 16. This can be simplified. This has a common factor. 4 goes into both 12 and 16. So I can divide top and bottom by 4. And that's where that 3 came from. 4 will fit into 12 3 times. 4 will fit into 16 4 times. So my missing number down here was a 4 because 4 times 4 will make 16. So I wanted 4 here. Number 11, what is my missing number? I'm going to use my equivalent fractions to get 5 to turn into 15. I'm going to multiply it by 3. What I do to the bottom, I do to the top. 3 times 3 would become a 9. I'm missing 9 in my fraction, so B. Number 12, what's the missing number for this set of fractions? To get 2 to turn into 10, I could multiply by 5. What I do to the top, I'm going to do to the bottom. 5 times 5 is going to make 25. So my missing number is a 25. Number 13. This time, instead of multiplying, sorry, there's a very noisy car. Instead of multiplying, I'm going to divide. So I'm going to take 24 and I'm going to divide it by 2 to get 12. what I do to the top, I'm going to do to the bottom. So 36 divided by 2. Half of 36 is 18. So my missing number was 18. Number 14. I can make 6 turn into an 18 or vice versa. 18 divided by 3 would get me to 6. What I do to the bottom, I'm going to do to the top. So 12 divided by 3 is going to make a 4. So this is 4/6, B. Number 15, which fraction would have the same value as 12/20ths? So remember, when I'm dealing with equivalent fractions, if I had 12/20ths, I could multiply the top and bottom by the same number, which is not any of my options. None of them are showing multiplication by a 4 on both the top and bottom. And it also works, if it's not multiplication, it also works with division. These have a common factor of 4. So you could divide top and bottom by 4 to get a fraction that is equivalent, has the same value. And so we want D. It only works for when we multiply or when we divide, not with addition or subtraction. I have to do it with multiplication or division for equivalency. So number 16, what is the value of point A? Let me count. I'm going to count how many lines it takes to get up to one whole. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 8 spaces to get up to one whole, which means my fractions are eighths. And I'm going to count how many it is that A is on. It's on the 1, 2, 3, fourth one. I do not count the 0 line. I start counting at the second line over. Or I could think about how many jumps. It takes 1, 2, 3, 4 jumps. 4/8 is not an option because it can be simplified. 4 and 8 have a 4 in common, so you can divide by 4. Or 4 is half of 8, so this is going to go down to 1/2. You can also tell because it's smack dab in the middle between 0 and 1. On 17, we're looking for what this point is. So I'm going to go through and count my pieces again. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of 7, 8. So I had 6 out of 8. That's not a choice because it can be simplified. Lots of simplifying happening. 2 goes into both. 2 will fit into 6 3 times and into 8 4 times. So this is going to be B. Number 18, what's the value of point D? D is kind of happening in between two numbers. So I'm going to think about what the big numbers would be and then kind of figure it out from there. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm skipping past there. That's 8, 9, 10th. These are tenths. But if I'm looking at where D is happening between the numbers. So if I'm going and counting every itty bitty space, like where D is happening, that would be twice as many. So these would turn into 20ths. So it's like a times 2, right? Turning into 20ths. So I'm counting every itty bitty half space in between. Those would be 20ths. So I know that this one would be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, and I have one more, so 15 20ths. And that is an option that I have on here. Number 19, which instructions explain how you would use a calculator to change 32/57ths into a decimal? Remember, this line right here means to divide. So if I was going to try and put this into my calculator, I would do 3 and then 2 for 32. And then I would hit the divide button and then hit 5, 7 for 57. So I think we want D down here. I'm going to do 32 and then divide by 57. And number 20, a rope is 16 feet long and it's cut into 12 equal pieces. how long is each piece? I had 16 feet. I'm cutting it or dividing it into 12 equal pieces. This would be the same as 16 over 12. But that's not a choice here, so I'm going to go ahead and do my long division and see what ends up working. 12 will fit into 16 once, which is 12. And I'm going to have 4 leftovers. So this is going to be 1 and 4 twelfths. 1 and 4 twelfths. My answer's not there. That doesn't mean that I'm wrong. It means that I need to simplify. So 4 is a common factor for both 4 and 12. So when I simplify, the big one stays there, and 4 divided by 4 is 1. 12 divided by 4 is 3. So 1 and 1/3 would be my final choice. So A. Number 21, which set lists the fractions in order from least to greatest? So a couple of things you could do. You could draw them all, or you could look at their denominators and do an LCM chart for all of the denominators that you see. So like I have 16s, I have 8s, I have 4s, and I have 2s. When I do that, I think I'm going to see, so I'm going to do kind of a really big LCM chart so that I can kind of compare all of these numbers. I think what I see is going to happen is that I'm going to hit 16 here in my 8s, and eventually in my 4s, 4s go 4, 8, 12, 16. I also hit 16. And in my 2s, eventually I'm going to hit 16 as well, because these are my evens. And so you could think about what my common denominator choice would be in order to make all of these work. And 16 is my LCM. It's everywhere. So I could go through and I could do my multiplication. What I do to the bottom, I do to the top, and figure out which then fraction is the smallest once I have all common denominators. If I don't want to do it that way, then I could go through and I could draw pictures of these things, making sure that the bars that I'm drawing, this is hard for me to do with a mouse, but that the bars that I'm drawing are all the same size bars to begin with. Here's 1/2, and I would do my shaded parts, and then I would move to the next one. I have 1/4, and this may be better on paper for you than on your computer, trying to do this by hand on your computer. So here's 3/4 would come all the way up to here. So I can see 3/4 is bigger than, or sorry, 1/4. 1/4 would be only this one. I can see that 1/4 is smaller than where 1/2 is. So you can kind of play around with pictures or LCMs and finding common denominators to work you through that. On 22, you're going to find the sum. Sum means the answer to an addition. So I have 2 fractions. I'm going to do an LCM. I have 3 and 8, or 3 and 5, excuse me. So I'm going to do my LCM, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. And in my 5s, I have 5, 10, 15. I found my LCMs, 15. It's my number showing up in both. That's going to be my denominators. I'm going to do my dots down the side, figure out what I have to multiply by. The side is times 5. So I'm going to multiply by 5 on the top. 1 times 5 would be 5. On the right-hand side, it's times 3 dots, top and bottom. 3 times 3 would be 9. And then you're ready to add. 9 plus 5 would be 14. And the 15ths stay the same. So 14 15ths. C. 23, you have another problem, but it's a subtraction. So I want to do LCM, but with 5 and 4. 5s are going to go 5, 10, 15, 20. 20 will eventually work with 4. 4s go 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. So my LCM is 20. Those are going to become my denominator. I'm subtracting. I'm going to do my dots down the side, figure out what I'm multiplying by. So in the 5s, it's times 4. What I do to the bottom, I'm going to do to the top. 4 times 4 would be 16. In the 4 side, it's times 5. Again, what you do to the bottom, do to the top. And 1 times 5 would be 5. So I have 16/20 minus 5/20. 16 minus 5 would make 11. And 20th stay 20th. So I'm on C. Okay, what is the product? Number 24, what's the product? Remember, when I'm multiplying fractions, I can just go straight across. 3 times 4 is 12. And 4 times 5 is 20. That's not a choice that I have here. It's not that I'm wrong. It's that I need to simplify. 4 is a common factor for both of these numbers. 4 will fit into 12 3 times, and 4 will fit into 20 5 times. So 3/5. My last one, my quotient. Quotient means the answer to a division. Remember, we're going to keep, change, flip. So what we're doing this week. We're going to keep 3/5. We're going to change division to multiplication. And we're going to flip the second fraction over. So now it's 10/3. Now we're going to multiply straight across. 3 times 10 would be 30. 5 times 3 would be 15. I still have an improper fraction, so I'm going to do the long division. I'm going to figure out how many times 15 will fit into 30. And it's actually going to go evenly twice. 2 15s make 30. And when you subtract, you won't have any leftovers. So this makes the whole number 2. Okay, that should be it. Yep. So you're going to go through these problems. Hopefully you paused along your way. Make sure you turn this in when you're done, and hopefully that's a good review for you for your test.